technology hub, it's our Silicon Valley, it's our IT hub. You can call it whatever you want, but those phrases that we've come to become used to calling Bangalore are now nothing but a joke, because this is what Bengaluru, or at least parts of the beautiful city, look like today. Flooding, cars completely submerged, traffic completely out of whack, people traveling from one place to another using tractors, boats deployed to rescue marooned citizens from certain outlying parts of the city. The suburbs completely ruined thanks to waterlogging after just a little bit of rainfall. Technology companies posting hundreds of crores in losses in just the last few days, thanks to this total civic breakdown, the waterlogging, and the total lack of access in that most crucial of Bengaluru's corporate zones. This is what the city of Bengaluru looks like. This is what it looks like every single year. And the people of Bengaluru are angry, tired, and fed up. And they believe that if something isn't done now, this will repeat itself into infinity. There's an election coming in just 8 months from now, and the anger of citizens needs to be amplified so that those who put their focus on other things, on Savarkar and hijab and azan and all of the other things in the state, are made to listen to the people of Bengaluru and the people of Karnataka, that this is what they've allowed their city to become. Let these images never be forgotten. I'm opening up my phone lines today at 5:30 p.m. because I want the country to listen to the people of Bengaluru. That's what the priority is here on India Today. And that's why Karnataka's #1 channel will be unwavering in our focus of this total breakdown of a once beautiful city. I'm Shiv Aroor. We are sparing absolutely no compromise in covering the city the way it deserves to be. On the show today, you will not only hear the experts, but you will see how our reporters continue to report it like absolutely no other news agency, television or print is doing, because India Today has the finest reporters who were on ground before things became this bad. And I'll show you that. These are the headlines first. Rape accused Muruga seer denied bail. Chitradurga court sends him to jail till September the 14th. Centre summons Wikipedia after cricketer Arshdeep Singh's page is hacked to show him as a Khalistani. Pakistani handles trolling him for dropping a sitter of a catch of Pakistani batsman under the scanner. Doctors reveal billionaire Cyrus Mistry suffered a fatal head injury in the crash yesterday. Police say not wearing seatbelt in the back seat may have led to the former Tata chairman's death. First look of Delhi's newly revamped Central Vista. Prime Minister Modi to open it to the general public on Thursday. The race to 10 Downing Street in its final stretch. Contest between Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss for Conservative Party's leadership to end. Winner likely to be Liz, to be announced around 6 p.m. today. For the second time this week, the city of Bengaluru is sinking, and it's hit new highs and it has hit new lows, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Waterlogged roads, boats on the streets of the city, traffic jams in a city that has been completely known for its traffic jams, more rain predicted over the next 48 hours. Hapless citizens are asking, is anyone bothered about Namma Bengaluru? Here's a city that has come virtually to a standstill, at least in many areas, and is slowly crumbling. Year after year, month after month, monsoon after monsoon, season after season, and election after election. Promises are made, changes are effected, but nothing changes for the city, and this is how it has looked today.
Streets turn rivers. Cars floating. Commuters struggling to get around. Massive traffic jams. Houses and schools inundated. Sprawling IT parks swamped. This is the reality that 1.3 crore Bengalurians had to face on Monday morning after record-breaking overnight rainfall of 131.6 mm. Spotlight was back on Bengaluru's poor infrastructure, leading to waterlogged streets, creating major traffic jams. Several lakes in the city were overflowing while stormwater drains were flooded. Low-lying areas bore the brunt, with water entering houses, temples and schools and affecting normal life. Tractors were used to ferry students, techies and office-goers on Sarjapur Road.
Tractors which is shuttling the people from one end to the other end. They cannot take their regular vehicles. If you just see on the left-hand side, you can see the water. The HL parking area has been completely flooded. The vehicles which has been parked are parked in the flooded water. So far, the water has not receded, despite there were several efforts which has been made by the civic authorities.
A senior citizen was shifted to hospital in a boat since an ambulance could not reach his flooded Yemlur house. In many places, people could be seen pulling their cars and even buses out of water. Major IT and banking companies along the outer ring road corridor were completely flooded. Even the assembly complex Vidhan Sauda was flooded with water entering its cafeteria. Adding to the woes, Bangalore Water Supply and Sewerage Board pumping station in TK Halli was inundated. As repair works are going on, drinking water supplies could be shut for around 50 areas in Bengaluru for the next 2 days.
ವಿಶೇಷವಾಗಿ ಮೊನ್ನೆ ಮಳೆ ಆದ ಪ್ರದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾದೇವಪುರ ಮತ್ತು ಬೊಮ್ಮನಹಳ್ಳಿ ಝೋನಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗಿದೆ. 2 SDRF ಟೀಮನ್ನು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಳ್ಸಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳಿದೆ. ಒಂದು ಮಾದೇವಪುರ ಒಂದು ಬೊಮ್ಮನಹಳ್ಳಿ ಕಳ್ಸಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೇನೆ. 30 ಜನ ಮತ್ತು ಬೋಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಏನಾದರೂ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಎಮರ್ಜೆನ್ಸಿ ಇದೆ, ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ ರಸ್ತೆಗಳ ಮೇಲೆ ನೀರಿದೆ ಎಲ್ಲವನ್ನೂ ಕೂಡ ಡ್ರೈನ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೂ ಕೂಡ ಆದೇಶವನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಒಂದು ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ.
With Sage Raj in Bengaluru, Bureau Report, India Today.
India Today's Priyanka Rudrappa and Sagai Raj have been on the waterlogged streets of Bengaluru since early this morning, as incessant rains have continued to flood roads and worsen the situation in some of the most commercially sensitive hubs of Bengaluru, including the tech hub near Whitefield. India Today reporters take you straight to ground zero to show you how bad it actually is. There is no exaggerating this situation. Take a look at what they sent us earlier.
We are on Yemluru Old Airport connecting area, and we are just reached around LCA Tejas division of HL, and you can see the entire area has been flooded due to heavy downpour last night, and the entire connecting area has been cut off. None of the vehicles could even reach on the other side of this particular road due to unventilated water on this particular area. Even you can see the HL is also being flooded. The IM block on the other side is also being flooded, and this is the kind of situation people are taking the relief materials, water, food, everything through these kind of tractors, which is shuttling the people from one end to the other end. They cannot take their regular vehicles. If you just see on the left-hand side, you can see the water. The HL parking area has been completely flooded. The vehicles which has been parked are parked in the flooded water. So far, the water has not receded, despite there were several efforts which has been made by the civic authorities. You can see all kind of relief materials, including water, food materials, everything is being taken using these kind of tractor. For the benefit of the viewers, just explain. Let me explain to them what kind of area and locality is this particular point. This particular road connects the IT corridor. You will get to visit Outer Ring Road.
Very quick diversion to get you some breaking news from the United Kingdom. The UK has a new Prime Minister. Liz Truss, as was widely expected, has just been elected the new Conservative Party leader and is now the new Prime Minister of the United Kingdom after Boris Johnson's unceremonious exit. Liz Truss has been elected the new UK Prime Minister after defeating Indian origin British politician Rishi Sunak by a fairly wide margin. Let's listen in.
And all of those who helped on this campaign, I'm incredibly grateful for all of your support. I'd like to pay tribute to my fellow candidates, particularly Rishi Sunak. It's been a hard-fought campaign. I think we have shown the depth and breadth of talent in our Conservative Party. And I also want to thank our outgoing leader, my friend, Boris Johnson. Boris, you got Brexit done. You crushed Jeremy Corbyn. You rolled out the vaccine and you stood up to Vladimir Putin. You were admired from Kiev to Carlisle. Friends and colleagues, thank you for putting your faith in me to lead our great Conservative Party, the greatest political party on earth. I know that our beliefs resonate with the British people. Our beliefs in freedom, in the ability to control your own life, in low taxes, in personal responsibility. And I know that's why people voted for us in such numbers in 2019. And as your party leader, I intend to deliver what we promised those voters right across our great country. During this leadership campaign, I campaigned as a Conservative and I will govern as a Conservative. And my friends, we need to show that we will deliver over the next 2 years. I will deliver a bold plan to cut taxes and grow our economy. I will deliver on the energy crisis, dealing with people's energy bills, but also dealing with the long-term issues we have on energy supply. And I will deliver on the National Health Service. But we all will deliver for our country. And I will make sure that we use all the fantastic talents of the Conservative Party, our brilliant members of Parliament and peers, our fantastic councillors, our MSs, our MSPs, all of our councillors and activists and members right across our country. Because, my friends, I know that we will deliver, we will deliver, and we will deliver. And we will deliver a great victory for the Conservative Party in 2024. Thank you. Thank you.
And that brings to an end the race to be the UK Prime Minister, with Liz Truss succeeding Boris Johnson. Rishi Sunak, who many people believed had a chance, well, he had fallen behind over the last few days and weeks, and now a decisive victory there for UK's new Prime Minister, Liz Truss. We'll be hearing more from her, the India connection, what it means for India. You'll see all of that at 7 p.m. right here on India Today. And now, let's return to our big 5 Live focus, because I don't want to be distracted by anything. When it comes to Karnataka and Bengaluru, our priority is to focus on the anger and the issues of citizens, because this is what the city of Bengaluru has looked like right through today. India Today's Sagai Raj and Priyanka, our intrepid reporters, have been out there all of today since early this morning, showing you what it's like. Take a look.
This is the kind of civic apathy you get to see. The entire road has been flooded, not even an ambulance which can reach on the other side of Bengaluru. And you can see here, people are struggling to shift the patients. One of the patients is being shifted in a boat just because ambulance could not reach on the other side of the road, because the entire road is being flooded. And people are struggling to reach their end destination, because this is a kind of civic apathy that you get to see. Thankfully, there is a boat here where they are ferrying the patient from this place to the other place, and they are saying that the ambulance cannot reach this part because the entire stretch, which is connecting from Old Airport Road to Bengaluru and Bengaluru, is been undated. You can see there is a IT park towards my left hand side, and there are several IT companies on this particular road. But people, whoever is coming to this part of Bengaluru or to these offices, are struggling. They are using the tractors to reach these companies as well as houses. Downpour in Bengaluru city had created havoc across many places, including Outer Ring Road, Horamavu, Bengaluru East, Koramangala and Indranagar area. And we are at Sai Baba layout in Horamavu, and you can see the kind of flooding which has happened overnight. Rain in this particular area, and this is not something new for the residents here, but there are several promises which was being made by local MLAs, ministers and chief minister who had visited this place last time, but nothing has been fulfilled. Every time whenever it is raining in this area, it has been flooded, and it was up to the knee level around 3 a.m. Now the water has receded slowly. People are struggling to remove their vehicles. Children are struggling to go to schools because of these kind of flooding situation. Definitely, you can see here, it was up to the knee level. Now it has slowly receded and it has come below, but situation seems to be the same in Sailet in Horamavu. Video journalist Shiv Aroor reporting for India Today, Bengaluru. Heavy downpour in Bengaluru city had created havoc across many places, including Outer Ring Road, Horamavu, Bengaluru East, Koramangala and Indranagar area. And we are at Sai Baba layout in Horamavu, and you can see the kind of flooding which has happened overnight. Rain in this particular area, and this is not something new for the residents here, but there are several promises which was being made by local MLAs, ministers and chief minister who had visited this place last time, but nothing has been fulfilled. Every time whenever it is raining in this area, it has been flooded, and it was up to the knee level around 3 a.m. Now the water has receded slowly. Let us hear from the resident what they have to say. Sir, how is the situation whenever it rains, especially the rain which has reported last night seemed to be quite heavy, and it is a similar situation you get to see here.
Hey, I think this is the fourth or fifth time we have been facing it. There is no way out, for the water to go. That's the reason, this is a common scenario. In fact, last time also we have spoken to, media and even minister, whoever came. But the situation is not going.
I promised you that on this special broadcast, I will put the spotlight on the voices of the people of Bengaluru more than anything else, because it is the people of Bengaluru, not you and I, who are outside Bengaluru watching this, who have to suffer it. It's the people in the city who are not only watching these images, but literally have to deal with it on an everyday basis. Two prominent residents of Bengaluru, Ritika Goel and Santosh Chhabria, both residents of this beautiful city, are with me live. Thank you to both Ritika and Santosh for giving me your time. Ritika, to you first. These are not unfamiliar images. We've seen this kind of thing before in Bengaluru. This time it appears to be fairly worse in some parts of the city. What's going through your mind? How has your life been affected by all of this?
So I usually work with animals, and when it rains, we have so many rescue calls. I cannot even tell you how serious this is. We have puppies that are drowning in drainages. We have cattle who are falling in drainages.
Yeah.
And to save and rescue cattle, we have to get cranes. How are you going to get cranes in place when there's a traffic jam? This wildlife that's impacted too. We've got bats dropping off the tree. We've got wildlife birds who've nested. The nests are falling down. It is a havoc. When it rains, it's crazy. And we're not even that equipped to, have a proper rescue team. Ideally speaking, the respected organizations are supposed to be setting a dedicated rescue team for animals. But we don't have that in place. We don't have rescuers. People are not reaching. There are so many calls that we're getting.
Yeah.
It's very disturbing, especially to see little animal babies being drowned, because they usually take shelter in drainages. Now they've all been flooded.
Yeah,
It's very disturbing.
And absolutely, and as an animal lover, I know exactly what you mean. And it's not just, except that the situation is so bad, Ritika, that it's not just the animals. In so many places, even humans appear to be needing rescue. There are boats out in parts of the city, children clambering onto boats. There are these horrible images of cars being dragged out from water. Santosh, what about you? Your existence in Bengaluru, how is it constantly affected, by this kind of situation?
Well, this is not a new story. It's a story that's oft repeated year after year. And there's always a hue and cry just when it's happening. And once it's gone, it's another story that rules the day. So there's a lot of apathy in terms of the powers that be. They aren't sympathetic to us. That's what it feels. Because we're going through this every year. It's not a new story at all. Because of this great rapid urbanization of our beautiful city. And the ironic part of it is that Bangalore is supposed to be the knowledge capital of the country. But there doesn't seem to be anyone knowledgeable on the board who needs to, have a vision and plan the city according to the environment around us. So it's really very, very disconcerting, and it's terribly mortifying to even get out in this kind of rain. And this is something that happens year after year.
And it does happen year after year. And that's the problem, Ritika, that nothing ever changes. That's the sense we get. We're going to be opening up our phone lines in about 8 minutes from now. That number is on the bottom of our screen. So all our viewers in Bengaluru who want to have a voice here, speak out, put the spotlight, get your voice out, express yourself on this issue. My phone lines are open. You'll be live here on 5 Live. But Ritika, like Santosh says, these are not unfamiliar pictures. How many times every single year does one encounter this kind of thing? As a citizen of Bengaluru, how does it feel that nothing ever seems to change?
It is devastating for sure, absolutely, because Bangalore is one of the cities that are known to be pet friendly, and we promote so much of coexistence with animals, and it is very helpless. It really is And I think we should definitely do something. It's high time that we, tell the authorities to take responsibilities, because they are responsible for it. And we as citizens are always happy to help them and cooperate with them. So that's the way forward, I think. We really have to take this seriously, but it is really sad.
And it's supposed to be an investment hub. I'm going to go to my reporter in just a moment. Sagai Raj has been waiting, in the water. I'm going to go to him in just a moment. But Santosh, one final question to you. The tech companies, in the IT hub and Whitefield, they've actually come out and, put out a pretty scary piece of data saying that in the last 48 hours, the losses that they have suffered thanks to, the water logging on that road amounts to about 225 crore rupees. I know this is not just about money. This is about the lives of people. But when it is expressed in that manner, especially since Bengaluru is supposed to be this big investment hub, the Silicon Valley of India, that's a scary fact, Santosh.
Yes, but that's happening because everything is getting monetized. You want to encroach on land, on lakes, you want to encroach on the stormwater drains. You're monetizing everything at the cost of our lives. So that's the price we pay for urbanizing our city at such a fast and haphazard rate. So that's the price we pay for it, which is really very sad because it just doesn't add up.
It's a terrible situation. Santosh and Ritika, I appreciate you giving us your time here. I know it's a difficult time in your city, but it was important for me to get the voices of Bengalurians because that is you are the people suffering this directly. I want to go across to India today. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ritika and Santosh, for that. Sagai Raj is our brave reporter who's been in the water through today, not only reporting but also reflecting the voices of those suffering in Bengaluru the most. Sagai, what is the situation right now? It appears that things could get worse in the next couple of days. Where are you? What's the situation, Sagai?
I am at Bengaluru. Bengaluru is an area which connects IT corridors as well as residential area. And this is those connecting road which connects to your outer ring road, EcoSpace, IT parks and several other places. And you can also see, you also have India's pride, HL and Tejas division over here where they develop the Tejas and manufacturing Tejas happens here. So this is pride of India, and what you get to see here is a shame of India, where the entire road is being flooded and people are struggling to commute. This particular road is being cut off. This road cut off to Bengaluru and Bengaluru. People whoever is trying to commute from this particular area are trying to use JCBs, tractors and boats. And what we have also seen is that one senior citizen had to reach Manipal hospital, but ambulance couldn't reach because of these kind of flooding situation. So they took a boat, and that boat ferried the patient from that side to this side, where they could shift from here in another vehicle. So this is the kind of situation where people are struggling, and this is not something new for outskirts of Bengaluru, especially New Bengaluru, where huge urbanization has happened. You have unscientific construction which has happened in this area, especially IT parks, residential area which has been permitted on stormwater drains in several places, but it is also causing a major worry for the people.
Stay safe, Sagai. I hope you're taking all precautions. We'll keep coming back to you. Clearly, this story is far from over. People using tractors to get from one part of their homes to another part of their colony because it's just dangerous and difficult to get there. That's an image from a colony basement in Bengaluru. Just look at those images, each one of them truly, truly so terrifying. Take a look. Let's tell you about the defining images of Bengaluru today. Not as an investment hub, not as Silicon Valley. The first big defining image of the day from India's so-called Silicon Valley. Things are so bad here that getting from one place to another is nearly impossible. Those who dared to venture out had to pull their cars out with ropes. In some areas, even buses were dragged out of waterlogged roads. This is the Rainbow Colony area of Bengaluru. The second big defining image of the day, the IT hub of the city, completely inundated. And guess what? Professionals from IT firms and others have been using tractors to get to work. You've heard that right. Tractors are being hired to transport professionals to their offices as their gated communities are largely submerged and they cannot bring their cars out. Also unusual scenes in a state capital. Boats, not water bodies, but roads that now resemble rivers. In fact, since an ambulance couldn't reach flood-affected areas, a senior citizen was in Yemlur, was shifted on a boat to a hospital as an ambulance, as you can imagine, couldn't reach this particular spot. Please remember, viewer, this is Bengaluru. Bengaluru's tech hub is submerged under heavy water and downpour. The IT corridor has been waterlogged. It still is. This is the second time in a week that the city has witnessed such severe waterlogging. And if you thought only the common residents of Bengaluru have been suffering, even the biggest power corridor, the Vidhan Sauda, is flooded. That's right, the assembly building of Bengaluru. Rainwater entered the state assembly cafeteria. And these were images that we got from inside. And we've got some breaking news coming in now on the Bengaluru civic situation. Drinking water supply is to be stopped for 2 days as a pumping station in Mandya district has been paralyzed thanks to flooding. Over 50 areas in Bengaluru will have either no access or limited access to drinking water. The Chief Minister will visit the pumping station. Please listen carefully, Bengalurians. The affected areas over the next 48 hours as far as drinking water is concerned include Sadashiv Nagar, Indira Nagar, Vasant Nagar and Malleshwaram. Let me repeat that for you. Sadashiv Nagar, Indira Nagar, Vasant Nagar and Malleshwaram are likely to be badly affected as a result of a drinking water pumping station being paralyzed owing to this chronic flooding that's taking place in the city and beyond. 225 crore rupees, that's a single day loss caused to IT firms in Bengaluru owing to the flooding. The outer ring road of Bengaluru, pictures on your screen right now. Companies that are built in buildings and placed over there. A body that represents all major IT and banking companies on the outer ring road stretch in Bengaluru has now written to Chief Minister Bommai asking for infrastructure issues to be addressed on an emergency basis. But why does Bengaluru crumble every time it rains? We attempt to answer that one question that every Bengalurian is asking today. Remember that number, 225 crore rupees in losses one day.
That's how rainwater lapped up at its foundations once again. Streets turned into rivers. Ground floors, basements washed through. Torrential rains have once again brought India's own Silicon Valley to its knees.
This is the fourth or fifth time we have been facing it. There is no way out, for the water to go. That's the reason, this is a common scenario. In fact, last time also we have spoken to, media and even minister, whoever came. But the situation is not going to change.
We request the government, the corporation, or whoever it may be. See, they can put a pipeline and do this thing so that the water can go outlet and the people of residency, they can stay. Now the children are not going to school, people are not going to work, and we cannot take out our bikes. These are all the problems we are facing.
Homes to IT parks, gleaming skyscrapers and Temple of Commerce, Bengaluru was submerged Monday for a second time in less than a week. On Sunday, the downpour in Bengaluru urban district was 368% more than the average. But the havoc it unfolded in the technology hub down south isn't an aberration anymore. It's been a menacing feature of city life for years. Crippling traffic jams and work-from-home orders when homes are flooded and blacked out by power outages.
So the massive downpour in Bangalore, which had inconvenienced a lot of people just a week back, and just when the city was recovering, this heavy downpour has created a lot of infrastructure issues. It has exposed the chinks in the infrastructure issues in Bangalore. So the IT parks, IT companies had also written to Karnataka Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai here, urging him to address the issues, saying that this is one of the IT firms and the IT parks which generate crores of revenue, and the massive flooding and the overnight rainfall on August 30th had resulted in a loss of 225 crores.
I'm opening up my phone lines as promised here on India Today, here on 5 Live Viewer. The numbers on your screen. Pick up your phone, your voice with me here on India Today as we continue to ask the questions. We're already getting a lot of calls already from Chennai, from Bengaluru and beyond in Karnataka. Rabani from Bengaluru is our first caller this evening. Rabani, go ahead. Who do you blame for what's happening in Bengaluru today?
Yeah, sir. Actually, I faced this issue 3 days before. If you know, like it happened on the 31st. Okay, I spent almost 5 hours on the road, and my vehicle get severe damage on the engine side. So when I was crossing, so no one is pointing out that the most of the vehicles and everyone facing an issue, and my insurance company also not taking the cause of this thing. And my question is like, before taking the vehicle, we used to pay the road tax. Okay, where is that amount? And I used to pay my tax amount every month from my salary.
Absolutely.
So who is going to be responsible for that?
Your angry question is very, very, it's a very relevant question, Rabani, because people are wondering all the money we pay in taxes, road tax, infrastructure tax that we pay, where is that going if you have to, see your car damaged every time it rains? I hear you, my friend. Natarajan joining us from Chennai is our next caller. Natarajan, what's going through your mind? Chennai has not escaped the wrath of floods either. But what do you think about what's happening in Bengaluru?
Once upon a garden city has become a now garbage city. Okay?
Yeah, truly.
Not only Vidhan Sabha is sinking, well, the government is also sinking. There were potholes, and nobody's there. What the government is doing, they are busy in collecting 40% of money from the contractors and creating problem between the two communities. And this also supposed to be the double engine sarkar. What is happening? Is the two engines are running without any garages? What is going on in this mine? They are not only sinking in Karnataka, both in Himachal Pradesh and in your Gujarat. This government is sinking. Very, very unhappy. Shame, shame. It's utter shame. Thank you.
Natarajan from Chennai, very, very angry, pointing a finger directly at the BJP, the Bommai government, the central government, and talking about how there is a betrayal of cities of Bengaluru when images of this kind become representative of what has happened to a once great city. He says Garden City has become garbage city, and believe me, viewer, that has become a standard plaint in the city over the next, over the last few years. We've got more callers coming in. Abhisht from Bengaluru is on the phone line. Abhisht, if you can hear me, go ahead. What's going through your mind? Who do you blame for what's going on today?
Oh, well, this is the result of continual neglect and greed, abject greed. So what do I see is when the water comes into the land, it has no capacity to absorb water. Now with the indiscriminate development that is happening, urbanization, that is happening, that is the first, you don't concentrate the entire land. You should not leave you build a building, that's okay. But when you hike a building, at least leave certain areas where water that falls onto the plot is absorbed. That is not done. Let us not blame what is what. Most shameful is being BBMP, not as engineers. That's number one. The road development that is happening over here, and it's all about surfaces. An entire cars have been submerged. None of the areas have been rectified. My question is, it's been almost a couple of years. What is the BBMP doing?
Questions for the BBMP are very, very relevant, and we've been asking them as well. Thank you, Abhisht, for your call. Deepen from Bengaluru is our next caller. We're being flooded with calls. Forgive me for using that word, but we're getting a lot of calls right now. Deepen from Bengaluru, what's on your mind? What would you like to say about the situation in your city?
Sir, good evening. Yesterday I was in the Rainbow Drive near the Wipro headquarters. It was already in the night at 11 o'clock. The water is up to the knee.
Yes.
And I stay in Bengaluru, the hub of the IT corridor. And I and my daughter were to go to the office today. My daughter is working for a multinational company in Embassy Golf Link. It took me 2 hours to out from the Bengaluru area. So much of traffic. There is no drainage system. Nothing is there. No corporators. No election of the BBMP for last more than 2 years. No corporators. Nothing is there. No drainage. And the metro is working. There is no any system in this city. It has to be rectified by somebody has to take the accountability of that. Nobody is taking the accountability.
That is the point. And remember, I hope the politicians are listening to the anger in the voices of Bengalurians today. Kiran is our next caller, also from Bengaluru. Kiran, what's on your mind? What would you like to say? Who do you blame for what's going on in your city?
I would say it's only the government to be blamed, Azad. It's the corporators who are not taking care of the things properly.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, see, it's every time the same thing. Every time it's only the common man who suffers in everything. You know, what's the traffic jam in Hyderabad? It's a bit less when compared to Bangalore. I'm in Bangalore from past 6 months, and what I get to see is traffic jam everywhere. It took 40 minutes for me to go to the other side of the road on a normal day, and I missed my bus. So I think what's happening now is terrible. You know, people can't commute. People are out of their home. They can't go back to their home.
I hear what you're saying, Kiran, because even when it's not raining, the traffic is terrible. You can only imagine how bad it is when it is actually raining. So it's not just about the rain, it's also about the broken road infrastructure in the city of Bengaluru that has only compounded the suffering of citizens. Vishy from Bengaluru is our next caller. One after the other, voices from the city, and I hope the politicians are listening. Vishy, if you can hear me, go ahead. What would you like to say?
Hey, Shiv. I'm actually calling from the U.S. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Vishy. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I actually hail from Bangalore. It's heartbreaking to see what we are seeing here, you know, once we woke up in the morning. This is not a political problem. You know, it is not a Congress problem or a BJP problem. I think it is a larger infrastructure problem that needs to be solved.
Yes. No, the infrastructure issues in Bengaluru have been cascading for a very, very long time with nobody actually addressing them, and that's the result that you're seeing play out on your screens right now. And these are heartbreaking images, and I'm actually not that surprised that Bengalurians from the United States are watching India Today's coverage and reacting to this. So our phone lines continue to be open. Mr. Srinivasan from Bengaluru is our next caller. Srinivasan, go ahead. What would you like to say on these heartbreaking images from the city?
Hello.
Yeah, just mute your television, sir, so that we can hear you better.
The problem that we are facing today is because of the nexus between the politicians, bureaucrats, and contractors.
Yes.
Hello. The problem that we are facing today is because of the problem between nexus between the politicians, bureaucrats, and contractors. You very well just now you have informed that the contractors want 40%.
Yes.
If they want another 20% profit for them, and then remaining 40% only, what type of construction they are going to do? Are they going to purchase material? Are they going to pay for the labor? So this will be the situation within no time, whether the roads that are laid will be washed away in a single rain, or the construction of bridges and other things will be in this fashion. That's how the problem we are facing today.
And all of us know, Mr. Srinivasan, that once this water, flows away after I don't know how many hours or days, There will be potholed roads, which is the other big bane of Bengaluru's existence. So let's never forget that the situation is not over. Once the water goes away, first of all, the problem is that the water stands there. It doesn't go away. Once it goes away, new contracts will have to be issued for the roads to be repaired because substandard materials are used. There is a construction mafia also there in road construction. Mr. Krishna Mohan from Bengaluru is also on the phone line with us. Mr. Krishna Mohan, what would you like to say on this terrible, sad situation?
Yeah, good evening. Actually, I've been in this area for the last more than 15 years.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so this outer ring road, or ORR, which is usually known as, this entire outer ring road was like a super express highway. There's very few vehicles and very few buildings on either side of the road. And it was very difficult even to find a good restaurant on this outer ring road. That was the situation about 10, 15 years back. And over a period of time, people, the companies and all the builders, they started building apartments and all the commercial complexes, the IT parks, everything. And they did not give effect to, importance to the requirement of drainage and how the water, and most of the lakes, in Bangalore have been, encroached. And I recently happened to visit Mysore, and the roads are even much, more than double than what is the width of outer ring road. And you can see 100 years old building on either side. And that was the planning done by the Rajas of Mysore 100 years back. And these people are all educated people, engineers, the so-called engineers. They don't have the proper town planning vision.
As far as town planning is concerned, I don't know how much Bangalore can be fixed. To be very, very honest, my parents still live in Bengaluru. I am from Karnataka, and it truly, truly breaks the heart to see a city that I saw through much of my childhood sort of wasting away and being bruised in this terrible manner. Moses is our next caller from Bengaluru. Moses, go ahead. What would you like to say?
I just want to congratulate India today, and I want to also confess I have been, thinking India Today is a biased channel, and they've been pro-BJP government channel I never used to watch. But last 15 days, we changed my mindset, saying that you are the pioneer to bring our Karnataka's problem boldly. Thank you so much. After S.M. Krishna's government, we are not seeing any government as doing anything for Bangalore. Especially S.M. Krishna had, task force, Bangalore task force, where we are IT, heads and other people are part of that. They collectively thought of the development of this beautiful city.
Yes.
But today, my city is in a pathetic condition. And thank you, India Today.
Moses, thank you for your kind words and kind message. And I assure you that India Today only stands with our viewers and the citizens of India. We are not pro or anti any political party. We are absolutely fair. That is my personal and professional assurance to you on behalf of the channel. We do not take sides. We only go with issues. So you can always trust India Today to put the spotlight on the story that matters to the people of India today, of India and India Today. Dr. Sampath is our next caller. Once again from Bengaluru. Dr. Sampath, what would you like to say, sir, on this situation that's crippled your city?
Okay.
We can hear you, sir.
You're
go
able
ahead.
to hear me?
We can hear you. Just go ahead. Talk.
Yeah. If BJP calls what a Congress ruled had an emergency, trust me, today we are in emergency in Bangalore. Okay. Secondly, the CM has to really look at what are the action plans. Okay, where are the NDRF? Where are the army? This is absolutely pathetic to the core. It has been happening for years and years now, and we are least bothered about looking at the IT city going to this situation. Can you imagine the main roads getting blocked because of waterlogging? This is absolutely not acceptable at all. Secondly, we were supposed to have a BBMP elections, very, very well planned. The BJP has not even planned for the election, and we as a citizen has to face this today.
Yeah.
And last but not the least,
we are living in times where it is very clearly evident that 40% commission government, and I would request the PM to really, take action and see that the ITCT is back to normalcy.
I can assure you that the entire country, the political class is watching India Today's coverage right now, because this is a city that India cannot afford to see waste away in this manner. India benefits from the city of Bengaluru. Please remember that. I'd like to thank all of those who've been calling. I know many calls are still on hold, and I apologize that we haven't had enough time. But this is a situation that means that this conversation between you, the viewer, and me here at India Today is going to continue as long as it takes until there is accountability fixed. Because this is what Bengaluru has looked like. India cannot afford for this city that benefits the country in so many ways, culturally, in terms of citizens, commercially in a big way, in terms of all of the things that Bengaluru is famous for. It cannot be allowed to disintegrate before our eyes. And yet, this is what Bengaluru has looked like in just the last 24 hours. It's heartbreaking, but we will not waver in our focus for this great city, and we will not let it lose that shine. Our coverage of this continues. I'm taking a very short break. We're back with much more from Karnataka after this.
Everyone's busy finding what's trending. You're busy finding out why. India Today, for those who research before reacting. Download the India Today app now.
हमको अपनी शहंशाही मुबारक, हमको अपनी गुरबत मुबारक.
This was Ghulam Nabi Azad's scathing reply to the Gandhi family and his previous party Congress, where he served for nearly 50 years. The Congress Mukt former loyalist made his intentions very clear, setting the stage for his independent political course after quitting Congress. Thousands of supporters and leaders who quit Congress with Azad were present in the muscle flexing. Azad used the podium to remind Congress of his long stint and contribution.
कांग्रेस हमने बनाई है, अपने खून और पसीने से बनाई है.
The jibes were indirect, but the message was direct.
ये ट्वीट से नहीं बनी है, ये SMS से भेजनी है. गलत अफवाहें हमारे खिलाफ पूरे हिंदुस्तान में और जम्मू कश्मीर में फैलाने से नहीं बनी.
The well-attended rally showed Azad's strength on the ground and the threat Congress faces in Jammu and Kashmir.
A large number of supporters of Ghulam Nabi Azad gathered here, and Ghulam Nabi Azad addressed this rally. He shared some details of his new political party that he is going to float in the coming days. He said that the agenda of his party will be to fight for the full restoration of Jammu and Kashmir's statehood.
Azad's supporters are standing strongly behind him.
रिस्पॉन्स काफ़ी अच्छा आ रहा है और आज़ाद साहब का स्टेचर आपको मालूम है, वो देश के बहुत कद्दावर नेता हैं और चीफ मिनिस्टर रहे जम्मू कश्मीर में. लोग चाहते हैं कि आज़ाद साहब जो हैं अब कमान संभाले जम्मू कश्मीर की.
आज़ाद साहब एक सेकुलर लीडर हैं जो जम्मू कश्मीर को जोड़ के रख सकता है. जो बाकी पार्टियां उन्होंने धोखा दिया लोगों को, सिर्फ गुलाम नबी आज़ाद हमें जम्मू कश्मीर भेजा.
While quitting, Azad had hit out at Rahul Gandhi's functioning, blaming him for the Congress downfall. Congress, which has been fuming ever since Azad spoke openly against Rahul and Sonia, hit back.
कौन है ये? किसकी बात कर रहे हैं आप? हैं क्या कांग्रेस में? जाए जहां जाना है, स्वतंत्र देश है. विदेश जाना है, विदेश जाए, हमें क्या फर्क पड़ रहा है उससे? जो हमारे साथ है ही नहीं, वो हमें क्या नुकसान पहुंचाएंगे? जाए जहां जाना है.
I think it's very regrettable. I have known him for a long time. He's been a valued colleague. At the time when all of our energies should be completely synergized to meet this threat, he knew well before this that this was the date. This very poor attempt to weaken the Congress is, of course, nowhere going to succeed, but is also highly regrettable.
Azad will soon begin his new innings in politics with a new party and has asked the people of Jammu and Kashmir to decide the name and flag.
Ghulam Nabi Azad's new political party could severely dent the vote bank of the BJP in Jammu region. But the biggest loser is the Congress party, which has seen the exit of its top leaders here in Jammu and Kashmir. With video journalist Neeraj Kumar, this is Sunil Bhatt reporting from Jammu for India Today.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
And we've got some breaking news coming in from Karnataka. A Lingayat seer, Basava Siddhalinga Swami, has been found hanging in his mutt. Appears to have died by suicide at his mutt quarters in Belagavi district in northern Karnataka. A suicide note has been recovered by the police. Sources in the police telling India Today that this particular Lingayat seer was upset over an alleged audio clip in which two women named the seer for sexual assault. He has died apparently by suicide and an investigation is currently on. Remember, the Chitradurga Muruga Mutt seer Shivamurti Sharanaru is in judicial custody till September 14th over child rape allegations. This Belagavi Mutt seer has died by suicide over allegations made in an audio clip, says the police, which are in the realm of allegation now. Investigation continues. We'll get you more very, very shortly. Well, that's it on 5 Live. Thank you very much for watching. Up next is 6 p.m. Prime with Akshita. She's going to tell you all about the Cyrus Mistry accident and get into the depth of that rear seat belt. Could it have saved Cyrus, and could it save lakhs of Indians every single year? Don't miss what's coming up next with Akshita.
Feeling safe and secure is important to all of us out there, right? Well, the Global Peace Index ranks the safest countries in the world to reside in. Let's find out which are the top 5 safest countries in the world. Iceland. Iceland is the safest country globally for the 13th year in a row. Iceland has a population of 340,000. It also has a low level of crime attributed to its high standard of living, strong social attitudes against crime, and a lack of tension between social and economic classes. Here's a surprising fact. Iceland doesn't have an army, and the police do not carry firearms. The country's laws guarantee equality, same-sex marriages, adoptions, religious freedom, and equal...
Co-presented by PolicyBazaar.com. In association with LIC, हर पल आपके साथ. Amrita Hospital, Faridabad. Bharti AXA Life Insurance. Do the smart thing. Mistry killed in deadly head-on crash. No seatbelt, Mistry dies on spot. Sheer impact of crash killed Mistry. Could rear belt have saved him? Mistry crash, a wake-up call? Top focus at 6 p.m.
Good evening. You're watching 6 p.m. Prime with me, Akshata Nandagopal. The shocking news of business magnate Cyrus Mistry's death. It's also led to a lot of questions about road safety, about whether we as Indians are doing enough, and how perhaps all of us need to now focus on wearing the rear seatbelt as well. We're going to be getting in a number of experts to speak on this and much, much more. Let's begin with the headlines. Bengaluru goes underwater after overnight rains. Classrooms flooded, massive waterlogging and traffic snarls return. Water supply may be hit in parts of the city for 2 days. Rape accused Muruga Seer denied bail. Chitradurga court sends him to jail till September 14th. Centre summons Wikipedia after cricketer Arshdeep Singh's page is hacked to show him as a Khalistani.